All right, guys, welcome back to the Point Guardian. We are in the first week of this newly anointed
And
winter
motherfucking
quarter.
Miguel bailed on us.
Miguel bailed on us. Richard is late as usual. We're taping this on a Friday, so I still need to figure out how we're gonna do the whole like game picks thing. I think this is gonna come back next week. We're just gonna like switch it around and start like our game picks on Friday, or just something like that. I'll figure it out.
Posted on.
I didn't
today?
post it today because we picked the games until Sunday, so that'll be back next week. We have a lot to talk about, and we're gonna try to like not talk about it too much, I guess, so that this podcast won't be too long. But I'm here. I'm Marcus. I'm the managing editor. I'm here with Alex.
I'm the sports editor.
And we're going to be talking about the Bulls today and the Lakers to change things around. So we've been off for a month, 4 or 5 weeks now?
Something like that.
Even more, because I think we didn't tape last week of the quarter.
Week,
so wow. In that time, so the whole month of December, my Chicago Bulls went 11-7. Went on a at least 7-game win streak, right?
Yeah.
8 maybe.
I remember seeing those Facebook messages and like, oh, Marcus is happy.
That coincided with Nikola Mirotic coming back from injury, and from injury. That sounds like he got injured during playing a game. Like he had like a quad injury or something. No, he came back from getting his head like imploded by Bobby Portis. So they're in a weird place right now because they're still obviously gunning for a top 5 pick. They're giving a lot of young players some minutes, and I thought it would be like a good time. I don't really like talking about the Bulls when they're not good, which is kind of like obvious.
Oh, you're gonna have to get used to it.
That's true. But Zach LaVine is coming back this week. Zach LaVine is like the major trade piece, or was supposed to be the major trade piece from the Butler trade. And I kind of wanted to revisit that because has defined the Bulls season, the Minnesota season too, right? But so Jimmy Butler and what was it, the 16th pick? I think something like that.
Somewhere in the middle there.
Who's probably a player that does not play a lot because Tom Thibodeau is the Minnesota coach. Was traded for Chris Dunn, Lauri Markkanen, and Zach LaVine. Chris Dunn is averaging 13 points, 4.5 rebounds, 6 assists. Markkanen is averaging 15 points, almost 8 rebounds, shooting 37% from 3, which is decent for, almost 7-footer.
Yeah. That's pretty decent.
And he has a good shot because he's shooting, I looked that up, he's shooting 85% from free throw line. And like a lot of people are saying, like free throw line percentage is usually kind of indicative of how good of a shooter someone is. And then you have Zach LaVine, who's coming back, who was averaging almost 19 points last season. So Jimmy Butler is obviously still like probably better than those 3 players, and I'm still mad in a sense that we lost him. But at the beginning of the season, we thought like, oh my god, like they're just rebuilding without any talent, right? They traded Butler for nothing. They're just waiting until next year to get a really high draft pick, and that will probably be the centerpiece. And now they're like slowly playing themselves out of that position.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to feel. I'm obviously kind of like enjoying the newfound dynamic. There's still a bottom 3 offense, although that's supposed to be like the big thing. New players, fresh players, whatever. But once LaVine comes back, they're gonna be starting Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine at a 2, Valentine, Markkanen, and then Lopez. Yeah, I don't know. The problem. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, like, is there anyone like on this roster that like makes it so that it's okay that like they don't get like a top 5 pick?
No.
Like, next year. Okay.
No, that's well, there's a few key young like rebuilding players, but none of these guys are a number 1 option. I don't think Zach LaVine is a number 1 option. I don't think either Chris Dunn or Markkanen. Markkanen is probably going to turn out to be like a really good to decent starter, which is nice from the 7th pick. You know, you can whiff on the 7th pick, as past drafts have shown. And I'm happy with that. But at the same time, like, there's no star. So as they're following, the one thing that kind of shows up from this roster is that they're missing like a key kind of big guy in the middle. Lopez is over 30 probably. I think he's 31 or something like that. He's not gonna stick around for the whole rebuild, or even if he does, he's not gonna be on the same timeline as any of those guys. Like Levine is 22, Dunn is 23, Valentine and Markkanen were drafted last year and this year respectively. So it's like it's a whole thing where it's like they need a center. Good thing is there's a lot of centers in that draft, even if they don't necessarily pick in the top 5. Like if they end up at 6 or 7, there's still like probably some really good options. Right now they're at 15 wins. They're the fifth worst team, 6th worst team in the league.
That's not bad.
So yeah, they're probably projected to get around the number 6. I don't know. I mean, I wish that they would lose a little bit more. Just because, Marvin Bagley Jr., who's probably going to end up in the top 3 somewhere, he's just destroying college basketball. You have DeAndre Ayton, who plays at Arizona, who's also a really, really good center. And, like, if they get a guy like this and pair that new player with Markkanen next year, then I'll get excited about this team. Then it's like, suddenly it's like they're turning around and they're like, we're giving the young players like 2 years to build. Like, they're not going to win games next year either. But at the same time, it's like suddenly there's potential and stuff like that. So 2 things is this kind of depends a lot on what Levine brings back. Like, if he's healthy, if he averages 23 and 3, from the get-go, then suddenly it's like, okay, yeah, like I can see that happening. But
well, you were saying he was averaging, what was it,
19 points before he got injured, but he also got he tore his ACL.
Okay.
So it's like you're always hoping, of course, that he comes back healthy. He was shooting 39% from 3. He was having a breakout season last year, but also he played 45 games because he got injured. So it's like
he was he was also like the 3rd option on that team,
and that's fine. I think that's fine. He might be he might be a number 2 option. I don't think he's a main option. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Bulls. I want to mention something. The Lakers, who are currently sitting at 14 wins, do not have a first-round pick next year.
They don't.
Their first-round pick goes to Philadelphia if it's the number 1 pick, or 6 through 30, basically, and it goes to the Boston Celtics if it's 2 through 5.
Team. Yes.
So they're probably gonna end up at 2 through 5. So I think the Celtics are gonna get that pick back. Which, obviously they're going to get that pick back. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'd like to pretend that the Celtics don't have that pick. To be honest, I like the young core that the Lakers have right now.
Yeah.
I love Ingram. I like Lonzo's play as of late. He's been doing.
He's
quite
been
well.
getting better for sure.
And everyone else, Kuzma, he's great. At least great on offense. He leaves some. His defense is not great.
That's also expected from a young team, right?
Yeah.
Young teams are notoriously not good at defense. Again, except for the Boston Celtics.
Well, the Lakers overall are like much better on defense than they were last year.
Yeah.
Oh God, I haven't talked on a podcast in a long time. So I think the last stretch of games, especially with their losing streak, kind of showed how important Lonzo is to that team.
Yes.
And I'm really hoping that shuts up all of the Lonzo haters at the moment.
The only issue I have with that is I don't think he's a bad player by any measure, but I also can't really judge him by being a above replacement kind of player on a team that is bad. Which is why, like, I don't like. That's the same thing that as for the Bulls. Like Markkanen is averaging like more threes than any rookie in history. But at the same time, like, who else is gonna take threes on that team because they suck? Like, how good is he really if he averages 20 points as a rookie on a team that is a bottom 5 team? And that's the kind of way I feel about Alonzo. Like, he's definitely helping them win games in a way that he probably didn't before. And he's definitely helping. Like, he's definitely like one of the key players probably with Kuzma and Ingram on that team. But at the same time, like, they have 14 wins. And not like to like be like, oh, you guys suck, but you can't really judge a player by what he does on a 14-win team. That's my point.
I mean, they're like you said before, they're incredibly young. Like, a lot of their heavy minute players are Lonzo, Kuzma, Ingram. We've got Randall in there, Larry Nance Jr. And then I think maybe their veteran player that plays the most might be Brook Lopez at this point.
And what's his face? Caldwell Pope.
Yes. Yeah. Who is a gunner, and I wish he would stop trying to play hero ball at the end of the game.
I'll trade you Justin Holiday for Caldwell Pope.
I don't know if that helps either.
No, Holiday's horrible.
And so why I said that I don't necessarily care about like where they end up record-wise is because I just want to see them develop. Like, if this is going to be a core that's going to be playing together, at least the main parts of this core, if they're going to be playing together for the long run, they need that chemistry. Obviously they're not going to be, or they probably won't be the Golden State Warriors, but that team was together, that main core was together for a long time.
I agree. So you mentioned keeping the core together, so I feel like I have to ask you about the Lakers shopping Clarkson, Randall, and
I forgot to mention Clarkson.
Clarkson, Randall, and Larry Nance Jr. How do you feel about that?
So Randall, he's been a very good high energy player this season.
He's a poor man's Kenneth Faried.
Yeah.
One Kenneth Faried was good because he's not very good this year. Anyways,
I think the Lakers are definitely, for the most part, are better when he's on the court and he is focused.
Yeah.
I'd imagine being shopped all the time might hurt your focus. A lot of people like to say that he picks and chooses his spots where he is focused, and he definitely. There's a reason he's not playing with the starting minutes. Usually it's about 25 minutes a game, I believe.
Yeah, and he's in and now. He plays the 4 and the 5, and it's kind of like I don't really know what his role is.
He's great because they like to switch a lot on defense, and so putting him at say center allows him to switch on just about anyone except the premier bigs in the league. But I feel like at that point, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I think we all remember that game they played against the 76ers, and Embiid just trounced him.
Yeah. But that's you can't really fault him for that. The guy's 6'9" at best, 6'10" maybe. But
I like Larry Nance Jr. I love his dunks. I don't think he needs to be on that team.
But who's gonna? Okay, so my argument against that, I understand, but they're trying to get better, right? But the process is probably gonna be much slower than a lot of people expected. A lot of people were like, "Oh my God, Lakers are gonna make the playoffs this year." No, that is not happening, right? So you have to plan for 3 years down the road.
Yeah.
Not next season. It's 3 years. So why not keep those players who are all under 24? And I include Randall in that and Clarkson. I guess Clarkson already has a new contract, so he's more expensive. But Randall, and it's who are you gonna get? Are you gonna trade him for a late first round pick because you don't have a pick next year, or are you gonna trade him for a veteran? But they're trying to obviously get some cap space for next season, but at the same time, like which established superstar wants to go to LA when they're like legit 3 years away from being in the playoffs? Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe they'll sign like 2 superstars in the summer, and then suddenly they're like a playoff team, obviously. But so that's the thing. I feel like the Lakers are in that weird spot where it's like, yeah, we don't want these players to be a part of the rebuild, and we want to sign like a superstar, maybe Paul George or whatever, over the summer. But at the same time, they're like not ready with the players they want to keep. You know, if you have Kuzma, Ingram, Ball, and whoever else like sticks around, those are 3 good players. Like, I agree, and they're especially now, like more in the season, some of them are. Ball and Kuzma are probably gonna hit the rookie wall at some point, but they're still playing pretty well, you know, and they're just not winning, which is fine, I feel. But at the same time, like, you're expecting those guys to next season be like on a contender, like that is not happening, and I feel like people are just like not facing that reality. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype about the idea of Paul George and LeBron James coming to the Lakers, and so I'll be honest, I am not on that train at all.
Okay, but let's take that possibility, right? You bring in Paul George, so you clear cap space. You get rid of Clarkson, probably. You get rid of maybe Randall. You clear cap space. You sign Paul George and LeBron James. First of all, you don't have a bench because those 2 players take up, what, 40 million cap space, maybe like 45, maybe 50 million cap space.
Well, let's say what's the starting lineup with?
That's the problem. Is like those 2 players play the positions that both Ingram and Kuzma are playing.
Yeah.
Like there's no. The one player that I could see is like Anthony Davis or DeMarcus Cousins. Then you're bringing like a steadying presence in the middle because Brook Lopez is not the long-term solution.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, right? But, like, if you bring in either Paul George or LeBron or both, suddenly, like, either Kuzma or Ingram are not playing as much. And then you're just not using the assets that you drafted. And that just seems unnecessary.
Yeah. I think as it stands, I think Kuzma could come off the bench and be fine.
That's fair. Yeah. And he's been playing a lot of 4, too.
Yeah. So... LeBron, he plays a lot of small forward and power forward, or did he?
He's playing. He's technically like power forward, but he's playing small forward, and I think Crowder is playing power forward.
And
then Love is the center in Cleveland right now.
Okay. And with Paul George, does he predominantly play small forward?
Yeah, he's small forward.
Okay.
I mean, either of those could be power forward and just be a nightmare, but. They would want to have to, you know. Paul George is like 27, 28, so he's fine, but LeBron is 33, so.
Yeah.
If he comes, he's going to be playing whatever he wants to play, basically. Yeah.
I guess this isn't necessarily a popular opinion, but I would rather have just Paul George come than also LeBron.
Yeah.
Because I think of, like, I don't know, that cliff comes fast, at least.
I think he still has a few years, but it's like... Yeah. First of all, why would...
But I care more about the next 10 than just the next 3.
No, that's fair. Yeah. And why would LeBron go to a West team that is not contending already? Like, if anything, that rumor that LeBron James might go to the Rockets, like, holds, like, better for me.
Yeah.
It's like, he wants to win. He has maybe 3 more years of hyper, like, contention until he's, like, 36. Then he might still be, like, a good player afterwards, but he might not be, like, the best player in the NBA. So he's like, he needs a team that is going to contend for 3 years.
Yeah.
And that team is not the Lakers.
Do you think he actually leaves Cleveland?
I don't know. I can't read that. I don't see a single team that would, like... I don't know why he would come to the West so late in his career, is my point. It's like, why?
I guess I understand maybe Paul George. I don't know, people seem to really like to...
It's his home.
Yeah.
LA's his home. I get that.
Yeah.
He might stay with Russell, with Westbrook. I don't know about that, but you know. I mean, it's gonna be interesting, but the main point is like I feel like a lot of people don't realize that the Lakers don't have that pick.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's gonna be like a big deal.
This is the season where they're supposed to just not try to tank, just do whatever
They were
they
supposed
can.
to be a fringe playoff teams this year,
I
and
mean,
they're
hey,
just
there's still
not.
plenty of time.
Well, yeah,
we'll see.
okay. They're the third worst team in the West, behind the Grizzlies and the Kings. The Grizzlies are just like injured. The Mavs have 15 wins, so one more. The Suns are at 16, the Jazz are at 17, and then the Clippers, who are the ninth team, have 20 wins. So it's not like they're far away from the playoffs, obviously, but they're they're still not making them, you know. And they're like, I don't know, but what is interesting about the Lakers, and our resident Lakers analyst just came in. But what's interesting about them is that, like you said, they're not trying to tank, and at the same time, they don't have enough. It's mostly experience, because I think they have the talent, but they don't have enough experience to be up there. Even if they had like 3 more wins, but they're just not there yet.
Yeah, I don't think progress is necessarily just defined by wins.
No, of course. It's just I'm just saying that because this season people were like, oh yeah, that team is gonna make the playoffs. Not everyone, but a lot of people were like, oh, they're fringe playoff teams. They're gonna be like the 9 or the 10, but they're probably gonna be like more like 13 or 14 still, which is fine because they have a 3-year window, right? Like the Ingram, Ball, and Kuzma contracts are not up for extensions until 2020 or 2021.
Yeah.
So they have a 3-year window to improve, basically. Yeah.
But I think one of the issues is Randall and Clarkson. We're just gonna let them go.
Yeah, we just mentioned that they're like shopping them off.
And Ants too. I think those three are.
Ants also.
Those three specifically, they're on. Like it's known that they're on the trading block.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about that personally.
I think I share that sentiment as well.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I'm all for getting free agents, but we've been trying to do the whole we're the Lakers, like let's wait for free agents for how long since
we were trying to get
for a while though. No?
Yeah. I still remember trying to get Dwight to stay.
Yeah, exactly.
And then after that it was Carmelo, I guess.
Yeah. And Aldridge too.
Yes, and Aldridge.
Right? I feel like ever since the CP3 trade didn't go through, we've just been going downhill. And I mean, I think that the way to go forward is to draft like that's how people have been doing it, right? Like you look at the Sixers, you look at the Celtics. Although I mean, Danny Ainge is on a different level, right? Like they were rebuilding, yet they were still a playoff team.
But that's because they fleeced the Nets.
No, that's
it's
true.
Not like
that's true.
They're not like a regular team in the sense that those picks were not theirs.
True, right? But I mean, we picked we picked Randall, we picked JC, we picked Nance. We have I really like this core group of players. I mean, we need more shooters, but I don't like the fact that hold up, we do have a 3-year window for those players, on contracts.
Yeah.
But I think that we need to do something now, and I don't know if we probably won't make the 8th seed, but we need to show we're we're
but your top 3 players are first years, second years.
But I mean, we need to. I think that we need to keep Randall. We need. I'm not.
I agree. I agree with that. But what I mean by a 3-year window is more like you guys have 3 years to improve. Like, I don't mind the Lakers being bad this year because both Lonzo and Kuzma have shown promise, and Ingram is in 5 years might be a top 10 or maybe top 5 player in the NBA once LeBron goes away and all these guys go away, because he has the talent to be that. And suddenly you guys are trying to accelerate the process by signing Paul George or something, and I feel like all the players that you mentioned, if they say or don't, they're just not ready for that.
Fair enough.
They have to if you want to get rid of one of them and you feel like he's not part of the core, that's fine, but they have to progress together. If Paul George comes to that team, then he's surrounded by 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like Ingram is 20, Alonso is still 19 or maybe 20. Kuzma is older; he's 22, 23.
Yeah.
They're all young.
All these players are like below 24.
Yeah.
Like they could stay on that Lakers team for 5 years, and suddenly that Lakers team would be like terrifying, you know. And they just don't have the patience if they do all the moves that they're supposed to do or that they want to do. Is my point.
Yeah.
But I agree. I mean, I'm not a Lakers fan. I think that in 3 years the Lakers will be good if they keep the players they have now.
Yeah.
Richard, what do you think about Randall's play right now? Do you think he's like hunting for a contract, like some people are saying?
Well, okay, so I've only watched some of the games because I couldn't watch like most of our games. However, I mean, I think he started a few games, right? He put up some pretty good numbers.
Yeah, he's starting now, I think.
Right. I mean, he has to be hunting for a contract, right? Like, either they tank his value by not playing him at all, or they play him and he's just gonna go out and get his. And I mean, I don't care at all as long as he's trying, right? I mean, he as classic Randall does, he'll go in, he'll get you like 2 offensive fouls and like 6 turnovers or something, right?
Yeah.
But no one else out there is going to be like, I need to get mine, right? Minus JC and Randall, right? Like, we don't have anyone who's going to be like, well, okay, like they don't, like Randall doesn't give a shit. Neither does JC, right? They just like JC hogs the ball a fuck ton, and so does Randall. But I think it's what he's doing right now is what he's supposed to be doing. Yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I was just wondering, like, who do you think they trade him for? If
I don't know.
No idea.
That's the thing. Like, who wants Randall?
I think a little while ago I heard something about Nerlens Noel or something, and that was a weird one to me. I don't think that was the most recent one.
The Mavs
they need a center, I guess.
The Mavs aren't playing him, so I mean, I think Noel would be a pretty big addition to our team. He's a 5, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a 5.
I mean, a 5 who
can't shoot.
Who can't shoot, but he can finish. He can play. He plays pretty good defense.
Yeah, he can play close to the basket, but he doesn't have any moves. He's a lob threat.
I mean, we already have a lob threat with Nance Jr. And if anything,
yeah, but that's my point. Like, why?
But we need a 5.
Why get rid of? No? Yeah, I guess. Why get rid of Randall though? He's the only post-up player you have.
They don't want to pay him.
I guess Kuzma a little bit, but still.
It's just he might not be worth what he would get out in the open market.
Yeah, because I'm sure he's gonna get like 20 mil at least.
Yeah, he'll probably be a max player.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone gets a max.
No, everyone's a max player.
Everyone gets a max contract nowadays, right?
I'll revisit that next year then, because I'm really curious which team is going to pay him max contract for Randall.
He won't get the max. I don't think any team can pay him the max, right?
Yeah, they can, because the cap keeps going up. But
I think
the max for like a 5th-year player is not as much as like for LeBron or Chris Paul.
He's gonna get paid more than he deserves, I think.
Yeah.
It's just,
well, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
What you're saying is he's gonna end up on the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah.
Probably.
Lakers East.
Okay, we've talked a little bit about the Lakers and the Bulls. I want to move on to we're doing something this week where we each have our top 5 or like a top like list of underrated players. You're nodding. Do you actually have a list?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
good. Nice. So Miguel also gave us a list. I'll let you go first because you seem like you're gonna forget it if you don't say it now.
I think you guys should start first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You need some time?
No, I
think
like
this
to hear
list
your
will be
thoughts.
officially Marcus and Miguel's list, and
Like
we're gonna have some
combined?
input.
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw in like Brandon Ingram.
Sounds good.
That works
Okay.
better, yeah.
Let's start with Miguel's list then.
Oh, I mean, we can start off with Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
I think that.
Let's start with Brandon.
No, you don't think so?
So okay, let's start with Brandon Ingram. My take about Brandon Ingram is that he's not underrated because I think he's the best player on the Lakers.
So I
by
just,
far.
Before we get into this, I think we should describe what we.
Oh yeah.
What does underrated mean?
Yeah, so I launched the idea. I said let's each have a list of top 5 like underrated player in the NBA right now that we think of right now. And we each obviously came up with our lists, and I realized that none of those lists have like the same like idea about it. I took like superstar or fringe superstars that are having great seasons but are not recognized for what they are. Miguel basically took a bunch of role players who are overachieving.
Okay.
What about you?
Me?
Yeah.
I think I think I would have done what Miguel did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Would've
well, the
done.
thing is that you can justify overachieving or under. What did I say? Underrated. Sorry, you can underrated by any like measure. Like, if someone's like a top 10 player, like plays like a top 10 player, but is only considered like a top 20, you could say he's underrated technically, which is kind of the way I went.
Chris Paul.
So
Not Chris Paul.
No. Well, I feel like Chris Paul's been balling out, right?
Yeah, but he's been injured like half the season.
Right.
I feel like if he can do it for 50 years, but I still don't think he's underrated.
So
yeah, go ahead.
So I thought of Brandon Ingram because I looked at the what was it, the All-Star voting, and Lonzo was on that list.
Yeah, but that's because it's Lonzo.
I know, but Brandon Ingram is not.
Okay, that's perfect.
Kuzma was on that list.
That's a great segue into my list actually, because Lonzo is getting more votes than Jimmy Butler. So let me tell you something about Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is a top 15 player in the NBA.
True.
He's averaging 21 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He's a 25-5 player. A 23 PER, which is like the efficiency rating. And when he's on the court versus when he's off the court, there's a difference of 18 points, which is the second highest in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So he's super valuable, and he's maybe gonna be like the 11th or 12th man on that All-Star team.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even miss it because there's so many guards in the West.
Is he playing forward?
Huh?
I thought he was playing forward.
He's listed as a guard on.
Yeah, he's considered a guard. Yeah.
Oh shoot.
I mean, he's a 2 guard. He was a 2 guard when he came into the league.
Yeah.
And he was
this list is a little weird.
Huh?
Sorry, this list is weird.
Yeah. So he's my first guy. There's obviously bias because he was a Bulls last year, but he's basically averaging the same as he was last year as the second option for the Timberwolves now, and he's not getting any respect because, I don't know, because it's the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are the 4th seed in the West, and he's arguably their most important player, and no one is talking about him.
Yeah, I think it's because they're the Wolves.
Yeah, because no one is like they're not getting any attention because of where they are. But anyways, he's my first player. My second player is kind of in the same like ballpark. It's Giannis.
What?
Giannis is my second.
You think Giannis is underrated?
Yeah, I think he's underrated.
Can you explain why?
Okay, yeah, go.
So, he's averaging 28.7 points per game. Huh?
He's averaging 28?
28.7, almost 29 points per game.
Okay.
10 rebounds and almost 5 assists. He is, per Basketball Reference, which I thought was hilarious, he's listed as a power forward, a point guard, and a small forward, and a shooting guard. So he plays 4 positions. Mm-hmm. He is like Butler. He's the most important player, obviously, on the Milwaukee Bucks. Mm-hmm. The difference between when he's on the court and off the court is 16 points, which is the 5th most in the NBA. Mm-hmm. He was a consensus top 3 MVP pick at the beginning of the season, and he is averaging the same numbers, and no one is talking about him.
Is no one who? What are you listening to?
No one is talking about the Bucks because the Bucks have fallen off because the Bucks are like the 6th seed now in the East, and they're not that good.
But I feel like people still talk about Giannis at least.
Not as much, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah. Because
I don't feel like it though. I feel like he was. Because he kind of came out of the gate shooting, right? Like in the first, let's say, 3 weeks of the season, everybody was like, "Oh my God, Giannis MVP," and now he's still averaging the same points. And just because his team isn't winning as many games, or they're still like a decent team, and he's just not getting any help from anyone because Jabari is still not back and everything.
Jason Kidd sucks.
And I feel like someone who's averaging 29, 10, and 5 is like almost unheard of, except Russell Westbrook. And I saw a stat that says nobody averaged those numbers since the two guys who averaged those numbers, except for Oscar Robertson, were David Robinson and Russell Westbrook. That's 2 guys in NBA history.
That's legit. Yeah.
And so there's been. It's not saying like he's underrated in the sense that people think he's not as good as he is. It's more like the way we talk about him. We've been talking about LeBron James a lot, Harden, and rightfully so. They're the 2 like front runners for MVP, right? Because they're in the top 3 of the conference and they're the best player on that team. But then there's been so much made of even the Timberwolves are getting talked more about than the Bucks. Talking about Westbrook and Paul George a lot, and even the Raptors a little bit, which is my next player is DeRozan.
Yeah.
But I feel like not that he should get more attention, but like people who say like suddenly he's not an MVP candidate are just disregarding the fact that without Giannis, Milwaukee would be the 13th team in the East.
Probably worse, I think.
Yeah, like they beat the Bulls.
Yeah.
Because their best player would be Chris Middleton and
the
Eric Bledsoe. And when your best players are that, then you're the Suns of the East.
Wait, the Bulls are like the most underrated team in the East, though.
No, they're not.
Laurie Markkinen.
So that's my number 2. Then you have DeRozan. He's being talked a little bit more because he just dropped 50. But Toronto is the second team in the East. He is averaging 25, 5 and 4, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. He's just a really good player, and Lowry kind of took a step back. And I feel like DeRozan is like definitely now the best player on that team, but also being underrated.
Yeah.
I really hope he's going to be starting the All-Star game. I don't know what the voting is like, but he should be the 2 guard for the All-Star game.
Well,
he
Beal,
is
though.
number 2 on that list.
In votes? Who's number 1? Kyrie?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the East, at least.
So I hope it stays that way. I think that's representative.
Yeah.
People are talking more about him
What
now
about
that he dropped
Beal,
50. But
Beal? Would you say he's a better guard than Beal? Like,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
He's 9th on that list.
Yeah, that's fair.
Wondering.
Whatever.
Well, I mean,
I don't care about Beal.
On the All-Star voting list?
Yeah.
I don't care about the All-Star voting list.
All right, jeez.
Not on my list.
Well, I mean,
but
in terms of like.
he's probably the second best 2 guard in the East. Beal.
East.
But I feel like DeRozan is clearly
Marcus
like
Smart.
number 1. Then my 4th is the Nuggets backcourt. Harris and Murray. They're both averaging over 16 points. They're both, 23 younger.
Yeah, they're both balling out.
The Nuggets are 21 and 20. Everybody talks about Jokic because obviously he's like the leading man on that team. But I feel like those two, they're so young and already so good. And then my last player is Steven Adams, and you had somewhere on your list too, but 13 points, 8 rebounds. That's not like necessarily like crazy, but at the same time, he's definitely the third cog in the Thunder machine rather than Carmelo. He has a 21 PR, and Carmelo has a 14 PR.
Carmelo sucks.
So the average PR for like an average player in the NBA is 15. So Carmelo Anthony has been below average, and he's getting paid like probably 20 million.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Adams should be getting way more respect than he is. And before I let you guys talk about your lists, I just want to play a little game that's called Name 2 Players Who Are Starting for the Brooklyn Nets right now.
Dinwiddie.
Yeah, that's one.
I know this. I should know this because I've actually thought about it. Dinwiddie and some other dude. Whiteside.
No. That's the Heat.
No.
It's still not Whiteside.
Yeah, I was thinking.
I think I know who you're talking about. Hollis Jefferson.
No.
Oh, no.
But Hollis Jefferson.
Okay, now you get it. So they're starting 5 for the Brooklyn Nets. Dinwiddie, like you said, Alan Crabb.
Oh yeah, okay, I forgot about that guy.
Demar Carroll.
Oh, Carroll.
Rondé Hollis Jefferson and Tyler Zeller.
Oh,
What?
I
That is the weirdest starting 5.
Okay, what
What's
about
the
the
coach
Hawks?
of that team?
I don't know.
The coach?
Yeah.
Kenny Atkinson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
They have a lot of injuries. Like Russell and Okafor are not really playing. They have Scott Stauskas, and Lynn is also injured. But kudos for them for getting 15 wins out of that team.
Wait, can we play a game for the Atlanta Hawks?
Oh, I can name 2 players on the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
I mean Schroeder,
Schroeder,
right?
yeah.
And then
Tarian
Prince. Yeah.
That's all I know.
Wow.
Deadman is on their team. I don't know if he starts. I mean, he's.
I don't know if
injured,
he
isn't
starts.
And that's it. That's the only 3 people I know on their team. Oh,
There's at least
Ilyasova? No.
I don't know, man.
See,
But you can name 2.
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
Close enough. Okay.
So let's go with Miguel's list, and then you guys can
Sure.
chime in.
Sure.
PJ Tucker, who's playing for the Rockets.
He's been underwhelming, I think.
Actually, he's been like really really good on defense, which is what he's good at.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like finally on that team he doesn't need to do anything on offense because they're the Rockets.
Right.
OG Anunoby, who's a rookie.
Raptors, right?
I kind of like stayed away from putting in rookies because otherwise I'll put all the Bulls in there somewhere.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Chris
but
Dunn.
so he's been really good he plays for the Raptors, right?
Yeah.
Lou Williams, although he just dropped 50 on the Warriors.
And then 30 yesterday.
Yeah, Dejounte Murray, who plays for the Spurs, and
Murray.
Tobias Harris. So, Tobias Harris is kind of the same thing as Giannis in the sense that everybody was talking about him in the first 3 weeks, and he kind of kept the same numbers, but now nobody's talking about him.
Right.
Like, it's not like Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon just, like, went back to being, like a maybe above average player.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Tobias Harris is, like, a legit, like, good player on a team that's going to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And although he doesn't have, obviously, the same impact as Giannis has, but it's still, like, it's the same idea of, like, it's not novel anymore. You kind of expect him to drop 20 points and, like, 6 or 7 rebounds, and you're, like, not talking about him anymore. So that's his list. I mean, I agree with it. It's kind of more like random players.
Yeah.
Compared to mine, at least. But yeah. What about you guys?
Alex?
Is Lou Williams really that underrated?
I feel like, I mean, everyone knows he can get buckets.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like it's kind of like you could call Jamal Crawford. Well, Jamal Crawford's like 37 now, but when he was like 32, you could call him underrated, and then he'd go off for like, 40 points on you. I mean, Lou Williams is the same type of player.
Mm-hmm.
He's just an offensive like guy. What is his averages on the season? That's the real question. Is he averaging if he's averaging 18 a game?
Probably should be.
Because I think he's
20.
the best. The thing is, he's the best. He's the best player on the Clippers, and
Yes.
the Clippers have literally 8 players in the injured.
Yeah.
Like all the players on that team have been injured at some
Always
point.
injured.
And he's the leading scorer on the Clippers. So I guess in that sense he's underrated.
So this season he is averaging 23.1 points per game.
Oh, that's much more than I thought actually.
In the last 10 games, he's averaging 31 points per game.
I mean, he dropped 50. That's
He's been balling out.
23 is a good amount. 23 is more than Butler, and yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Well, in the sense that no one is talking about him,
Stephen.
except for that one game where he had 50. Right?
Stephen Curry.
Stephen Curry's not underrated. Stephen Curry is a top 5 MVP candidate year after year.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I do think that he hasn't been talked about that much. Since he came back though.
That's true. That's true.
But it's I find it really interesting that he's not considered. People forget about him.
Yeah.
And then
because of Durant.
Yeah,
because
but
everybody gets tired of the Warriors.
he's the best player on their team.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
He's
the most.
He's the
important
Warriors.
player.
He's he himself is the Warriors.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Alex,
Let's
continue.
go with your list.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I can't defend my list. Let's go with Richards.
My list.
Okay.
Stephen Curry.
Stephen Curry's the first player on your list.
Yeah.
Okay, justify it more
okay.
because you attacked me for Giannis. Let's go.
No. I actually I didn't know that Giannis. Sorry, I didn't mean it. Okay. I didn't realize that Giannis was averaging the same amount of numbers.
Yeah,
right?
he's
But everyone a lot of people were saying that Curry regressed or something. His shooting went down, right? His 3-point percentage.
Yeah.
But
sure.
that's that was a fluke because he. Okay, I was kidding about Curry, but
Are you sure?
Well, no. Not that he's not that everyone considers him underrated, but I would say that people underrate him, just.
Okay.
But who's people? That's my problem. With this, with the differences in all of our
exercise?
lists,
That's
because
true.
Damn! Don't criticize the the exercise, dude.
Because see, my problem with the Giannis one was I think he's getting everything that he deserves. He's number 2 on on that All-Star voting list for front court. He is
That's true.
behind LeBron in front court for the Eastern Conference. So I think someone like Giannis is he's legit. He's a star in this league.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could I think Giannis is probably the 3rd best player in the NBA right now.
Uh-huh.
Wait.
But because he plays on the Bucks,
LeBron?
I think Harden and LeBron are 1 and 2. Mostly
Where's
because
Curry?
mostly because Curry and Durant have been injured.
Okay.
Like right now.
But so, do we mean like underrated by like the media?
Yeah, because like that's the only metric. Like the media, Reddit, and then
Reddit.
Right?
Fan votes,
Reddit
or,
is the
like-
only metric. I love it. I guess, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like he's not being talked about. Like
Okay.
not necessarily by us, but just like in general. You know, like
Okay.
at the beginning of the season, you had all these like Giannis stories where
Yeah.
it's like, oh my god, the guy like can leap the court in 3 steps, whatever.
You can
Like,
still do that.
well, yeah, but the guy's still averaging 29 and 10. Like, chill. Yeah, that's
Well,
my point. I guess.
Well, then I stick with CP3.
Oh,
Even though he's been injured like a
Yeah.
ton, you know, like he's a pretty important part of their team. The Rockets are gonna be the Rockets. They're gonna make the playoffs, but with CP3, like they are genuine. Like they are like a legit threat with CP3. Like, cause he can shoot threes now, more consistently. You know,
I feel like he could always shoot threes. He just didn't.
Yeah, but
he's
like
more comfortable from mid range.
Yeah,
but
yeah. But like now, like, I mean, Harden has someone else who in the fourth quarter he can give the ball to and he'll knock down a shot.
I feel like the Rockets are definitely going to be a harder like out in the playoffs than they were at least like last year. And I think in that sense, yeah, because I was looking at there's always it's like the age of the point guard, and you always have those lists of like the top point guards, etc. Right? And at the beginning of the season, it was like CP3 was like still kind of a really good player, but at the same time like way down the list because of all these like young point guards.
Yeah.
And so I think I agree with that he's probably underrated for the type of player he is now. He's definitely older than all these other guys, but at the same time, like, he can still probably. I mean, he's he's the second guy on the Rockets now. He doesn't have to be the man in the playoffs.
That makes it easier for him, I think.
They're gonna be a good team in the playoffs, I think. Yeah.
Barring injuries.
Barring injuries. Well, obviously.
Yeah. I had someone in my head. I forgot.
Oh, actually, I do have a question because
Yeah.
So do you know who Colin Cowherd is?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's the guy on Fox Sports, right? Who's totally dumb.
Yeah.
Anyways, he said Lonzo Ball was a top 10 point guard in the NBA, and that like infuriated me so much.
Okay, let's count
As
from
much
10.
as I love my guy Lonzo,
Stephen
I hate
Curry.
Cowherd.
So yeah, let's go from 10.
Stephen Curry.
Yeah. Not in particular order. Let's not
Right.
care. But let's name 10 guys who are better than
Kyrie.
Stephen Curry. Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Lillard.
Damian Lillard. Yeah. No, I was gonna say someone. I forgot his name.
Kemba.
Kemba.
Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook.
Westbrook. I'd still probably take Isaiah Thomas over it.
IT. I'm not gonna put Harden in there because he's a two guard, but he runs point guard. But
Did
no.
we put Paul on
CP3.
this? Yeah.
That's seven
Seven.
already. There's gotta be more.
There are more.
Jeff Teague. No, just kidding.
No, I was.
I
actually thought about that.
Chris
but-
Dunn? Nah.
No.
I don't even think he's the best point guard of his draft class.
Who's
I'd
better?
take Donovan Mitchell over him.
Mitchell's a shooting guard now.
Nah, he plays point guard. He handles the ball for the Jazz.
Oh. Well.
Yeah.
You would take
Well,
Donovan.
anyways,
Wait,
let's
you-
not
wait,
put
wait,
him.
wait,
Let's
wait.
not put him.
You would
But
take Donovan Mitchell over Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
Really?
Donovan Mitchell is better right now than Lonzo Ball is.
Better in what?
Right now.
No, but like offense, like
Well, he's a
he
better
scores
player.
more. But like Lonzo's a pretty important part of our defense.
Yeah, but Donovan Mitchell is a top 3 rookie of the year candidate with Tatum and Ben Simmons.
Would you put Lowry on that list?
Yes.
I think I would. He's had a down year, but he's still.
John Wall.
9.
Oh yeah, that's 9.
Oh, Cowherd hates John Wall.
That doesn't-
Apparently.
Yeah,
well,
that's
yeah, but John
stupid.
Wall's up there. You can't.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying that. Like,
Yeah.
that's another reason he put Lonzo on that list and maybe not. Yeah.
I mean, these are the guys, right? Who are we forgetting?
What teams have we got?
Conley.
He's out.
Yeah.
I think it's unfair to put him on that list now. Yeah. Damn, that's 9. Shit.
No, there's definitely one more.
There's definitely more. I
As
feel
much
like
as I
we're
wanna put
forgetting
Lonzo in
someone.
there.
Giannis. Eric Bledsoe? Nah.
No. Okay. Oh, Bledsoe's on the Bucks. I forgot.
You could take Bledsoe over. He's more established for sure. I don't know if he's better.
I don't know. I
Who are we missing?
no one because Lonzo's number 10. Duh.
Do you have like a list of all the teams in the NBA under?
I should. I was looking.
I mean,
at
would you
NBC
take
Sports,
Schroeder?
Like, top 10.
Schroeder, Reggie Jackson,
And Mike Conley was the only one that.
Rondo.
Not Rondo. I can get behind Schroeder and Reggie Jackson though. That's 11. Reggie Jackson's having a really, really good year. Actually, he should be on that list of underrated players. Yeah. And Schroeder is like the top player.
What about Lonzo in top 15 then?
Top 15, I think he might be number 15 just because there's been so many injuries this year.
Yeah.
If everybody was healthy, he would be like in the 20s.
I mean, what are your thoughts on him?
I think he's a good player. I think he's going to be a good player like later on. I don't think he's good right now.
Why
he's
not?
Better than
at
the beginning of the season,
Definitely.
for sure. But he's also 19.
Right.
And there's like I said, there's probably like 15. Like right now, there's probably 15 to 20 point guards I'd take over him.
Fair enough.
Just because I would actually like take Bledsoe and all these guys over him right now. Donovan Mitchell too.
Is Tony Parker still in the league?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm just checking.
Okay. No, yeah.
Okay, let's continue that. Let's continue that list.
Oh.
Do you have any more players?
Lonzo, underrated.
Oh God.
No, I mean, no. Okay, he gets too much attention, honestly.
Yeah, that's.
He's kind of been underrated just because he's been much better than like at the beginning, and we still have that image of Lonzo being like really sucky. And,
yeah, everyone's
not being able to shoot, but he's actually like better.
He's average now, I think, right?
Yeah, he's doing pretty well.
Like he's scoring, and he's
he
doing
did
stuff.
pretty well last night. Granted, that was like the shambling corpse of the Spurs that they were playing against.
Yeah.
But...
Now the Spurs are surprisingly bad.
Well, I think all of their starters were out of that game last. I don't know how they're doing.
Aldridge was playing.
Well, but you're missing guys like Kawhi and like Parker, right?
I think so. Yeah. No, Manu played though.
Did he?
I think.
Actually, something I was a little surprised to see was on that All-Star voting list. Manu was really high.
No, because Argentina, baby.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean he's 41 now, I think. Or he's almost 41. It's crazy old.
I'm looking at lists from like the beginning of the season. Bleacher Report had Kyrie Irving at 8th best point guard.
Do you think Horford's underrated?
I'm looking at that list right now.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Horford?
Or do you think? I think people respect him, but
I don't think he's underrated because I don't think he's such a good player.
No, but he's
in a perfect system for him.
Yeah, he's the anchor for the Celtics defense.
Yeah, I feel like they're missing player on that list. Steph Curry.
George Hill.
Oh God.
Where is he right now?
Kings.
Okay.
He's not even averaging 10, which is ridiculous. Like
he plays for the Kings, right?
Yeah, the Kings are so bad, dude.
They're awful.
I'm trying to think.
Okay, so Hoops Hype has a top 30 point guards for 2017-2018. So we have
point guards though.
Yeah, sorry. It's just gonna annoy me if I forget a player, and we're gonna close the podcast soon. But so you have Curry, Westbrook, Chris Paul, John Wall, Damian Lillard, IT, Kyrie Irving, Kyle Lowry, Mike Conley if he's healthy.
Okay.
Goran Dragic. Walt Kemba. Eric Bledsoe. Ricky Rubio. Drew Holiday has kind of been underrated just because he's like. He's overpaid for sure, but he's been having a pretty decent season. Mm-hmm. Then you have George Hill. So George Hill. That's like at the beginning of the season though. So let's take that out. Beverly, if he's healthy. Jeff Teague has actually been having a really, really good season.
Mm-hmm.
They have Markelle Fultz at 18, and they have Lonzo at 19.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray, who I have on my list of underrated.
Yeah, he's been playing really well, right?
Malcolm Brogdon, but he now plays a shooting guard. Smith. They have Schroeder at 23, but Schroeder is definitely better than that. And they have Reggie Jackson as 24. No. So I can see like 15 players above Alonzo.
I can see that.
He's in the 15 to 20 range.
Yeah.
Which, is all right.
That's pretty good.
He's also 19 again.
Yeah.
Give him some time. That's fine. Wow, they have Jeremy Lin at 30. That's
so fucking disrespectful.
Do you guys have anything more on those lists on your underrated?
Sorry, I just saw like a Lakers-related article that like I really hope is not true because that would really piss me off.
What?
So I am going to go look for it before I say anything.
Okay. I'm trying to think of any like. Okay, well, can I like segue this into like any teams you think are underperforming?
Underperforming or?
Yeah. That you think?
I mean, I have a list of all the worst teams in the league. If you want.
But like like any.
The teams. Hornets.
Okay, yeah.
The Hornets are the main team for
They're
me.
so bad.
Yeah.
I don't.
They should have been better than that.
Definitely.
The Grizzlies are injured, so they don't really count. Other than
Yeah.
that, you have the Bulls, the Lakers, Kings, Mavs, Suns, Magic, Nets, and Hawks, and they're all
Are
supposed
the
to be
Mavs
bad.
tanking?
Yeah, because they have a 40-year-old power forward
But
that plays center.
But they're always playing. They're always close. Their games are super close.
Yeah, but they have a lot of like young players and stuff. I feel like they're just gonna be like tanking for a couple years,
But, like,
which is fine.
It's weird. Like I actually watched I watched a lot of Mavs games because I love the way their nets sound. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's so good. But shout out to Mark Cuban. But like.
Sorry, I'm fuming.
What
Okay.
Keep going.
No.
It's fine. Let's interrupt it and
Yeah,
let's hear what Alex has to
What just
say.
happened?
So there's a report recently that that supposedly that the Lakers don't actually support Luke Walton and are eyeing David Fitzdale.
Ooh, Fitzdale.
And people say that because LeBron like publicly
Likes Fitzdale.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
That is bullshit.
Yeah.
That's a stupid article. Who
LeBron
wrote it?
is not gonna go to the
So
Lakers.
this is from ESPN's Brian Windhorst.
Oh,
Eh.
interesting.
Wait, isn't Windhorst like a LeBron like lover?
Yeah.
Shout out to LeBron James.
Yeah.
They should give Walton the time to
Yeah, I
work
think
with that
he's
team.
I think he's doing a pretty
I
good
think
job.
I think they support him.
All right. I think we should end the podcast because we've gone way over already.
I don't even know what we talked about.
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, we've talked about it. Anyways,
Yeah.
I'll tell you after because
Yeah,
you
I-
apparently don't remember. It was 20 minutes ago, you know. Shout out to Hojun and the multimedia department at the UCSD Garden for producing the podcast. I want to leave you on this note. Clint Capella is the sixth most efficient player in the NBA right now. And David West, who is 55, is the 12th most efficient player in the NBA.
Big baller brand.
Yeah. All right, and we'll talk to you next week.
I love Luke.